Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome back to my channel. I know it's been a while since I've, one, posted and then also just in general recorded because I have been on many vacations in the last 2 months and I'm not even done. I still have another one planned coming up. And yeah, so, anyways, that's why my time has been kind of constricted. And also, I'm still trying to do my podcast and everything with my friends, which actually I remember I said I was going to link in the last video, but I never did. So, I will, if I remember, try to link it in this one. So, if you're interested in that. But, anyways, but yeah, I'm also back with the shorter haircut, having Lord Farquaad vibes and all. But anyways, in today's video, I am going to be giving a quick little review on the movie Malignant, which recently came out. It is directed by James Wan, and it stars some people that you might be familiar with from previous James Wan movies. One being Annabelle Wallis, which I thought was funny because she was also in the movie Annabelle. Oh yeah, and then it starred McKenna Grace, who played a younger Madison / Emily in the film. And she was also in, I think, which Annabelle movie? I think she was the second one. No, it was Annabelle Comes Home. I forget which one that was in the franchise. But yeah, and those are the ones that I can recall being in previous James Wan or at least in franchises that were created by James Wan films. Anyways, so this movie came out recently, and the synopsis of it is: paralyzed by fear from shocking visions, a woman's torment worsens as she discovers her waking dreams are terrifying realities. Going into this movie, I did not read anything about it. I did not watch any trailers for it for some reason. I mean, the only thing I ever saw about it was the movie poster. I did not necessarily make a choice to not watch the trailer or look anything up about it or even read the synopsis. I just never did. And when it finally came out on HBO Max, I was very excited going into it because, again, it was directed by James Wan. He has kind of created some of my favorite types of horror films. You know, he did Conjuring, Insidious, as I've already said, and he also created Saw, which is one of my all-time favorite movies. So yeah, I was excited to see him come back and direct a new horror film and kind of see just what he was going to bring with this one. And yeah, I think everyone was excited. My husband was excited. And I know that this film has gotten high praise from a lot of people. People really enjoyed it a lot, and they loved kind of how batshit crazy this movie was. And I feel like for me personally, it's not that I don't like the movie. I think I just fall somewhere kind of in the middle, and that it wasn't exactly what I was expecting. Again, I wasn't even really expecting anything. It just, I don't know, it just wasn't what I was thinking that it was going to be. So let me just kind of, I guess, go into some of the things that I kind of didn't really like about the film. And so, first thing first, I want to talk about the acting. I think this is one of the things that people did say they didn't necessarily like, or I mean, I guess they kind of did like it. I don't know. But, anyways, the bad acting, I felt like it was bad. Some of the characters were obviously worse than others, but I just felt like it was just, I feel like they tried to bring a funny aspect to this film and it just did not work. And I don't know if that's why they chose some of the actors or the bad actors that they did. I just felt like their line delivery wasn't good and it made it feel more cringe than it did funny, which I don't think is a good thing for a film. I think they definitely tried to play up that campy aspect with the actors that they chose and the way that they, delivered their lines and acted out their scenes, but it just did not work for me. It fell a little short. And yeah, it was a little bit sad. And also the Annabelle Wallis's character, Madison / Emily, her wig was terrible. I mean, it was really bad. And the moment I saw her, I was like, why did they choose such a bad wig? Or maybe they shouldn't, maybe not have made it as dark, because I know at least in Annabelle, she had blonde hair and I felt like that suited her better. But anyways, that's just like a minor thing that I noticed, and I just could not get over how bad her wig was and just how, yeah, it wasn't good. The next thing that I kind of took notice of was the music in the film. I feel like for me, the music was, I mean, it wasn't bad music by any means. I actually did enjoy the music in the film. It just didn't seem like it ever fit with the scene that was going on in the movie. I felt like it was kind of, I don't know, they just didn't match up to me, or at least they were a little bit extra, I don't know, it was just again doing too much, or it was trying to do something that I just felt like it couldn't do. And yeah, it just made like the pacing seem off in the film for me. I felt like it'd be like a kind of crescendo of music and then it would just be like nothing really happening on the screen. I don't know, it just seemed kind of odd. I forgot to mention this. This is going to have like kind of a little bit of spoilers in it. Specifically this next thing I'm about to say, but my husband at the end of the film was just basically saying how Gabriel in the film was an extra murdery Voldemort from the first Harry Potter. So, you know, when he was in the back of Professor Quirrell's head. And I was like, oh my God, you're totally right. I didn't think about that. He is definitely an extra murderous Voldemort in this film. And then I don't know, I felt like overall this film kind of just threw everything James Wan is known for into one film, or things that have worked for him in one, all into one film, you know. So they had a lot of mood, I guess, building scenes of like, you know, them in the house. And I feel like he does it a lot where he's in a house where he's kind of like filming people like living their lives. Obviously, I guess it's like meant to build up some tension. But I don't know, just the way that they filmed it seemed very just reminiscent of other films. And like he was just kind of doing things that have worked for him in previous films into this one. And, you know, like how the way that he zoomed in on certain characters and stuff like that, it just felt very reminiscent of that. And even like the coloring that he used, or the lighting, you know, there was a lot of red in the film, which I feel like he's also known for, specifically like Insidious. I feel like they used a lot of red tones in that movie. So yeah, it just seemed like a hodgepodge of all these things. Not to say that it wasn't bad, because obviously it was a nice, visually pleasing movie to look at, but those are just things that I noticed. I felt like he wasn't really necessarily coming up with anything original in that aspect. He was just kind of reusing the same old tricks that he's used in other films, which is, again, not bad. It was just something I took notice of. And then the last thing I did not really like in this film was just kind of like, I felt like there was a big plot hole in it, which was the idea of electricity. I feel like a past few movies that I've watched that are horror films have kind of done this, where they've kind of introduced something into the film, but they don't elaborate on it anymore. So yeah, I feel like with this one, so when Gabriel, he was able to communicate through, you know, electricity, or he was able to alter the electricity, you know, like make the lights flicker. He was able to talk through radios and the telephone, but they never really addressed that, because I feel like if it was essentially just Emily/Madison, they never explained like how that was possible. And especially if she was more like, I guess, the present one, because they kind of made it seem like he was able to take, you know, his complete form, when she was kind of like, I don't know, asleep, or was under the impression that she was awake. And yeah, but when she was actually awake, like, you know, when she was being, not interviewed, what is the word? Like when the cops are basically interviewing you. But anyways, I don't know, I can't think of the word. But when the cops are talking to her, she was like, you know, held up her phone and was like, he wants to talk to you. But it's like she was the one who was most present. So how was he still able to communicate through the phone if she was the one that was the most present? I don't know. It just didn't really make any sense to me, because it's just like, how was he able to do that stuff? So it was kind of giving me also like Stranger Things vibes in that sense, and that, like, you know, they were able to do certain, I don't know. It was just kind of like something that I was like, okay, well, explain that to me. Like, is he his own person, or is he a part of it? Because from the beginning, I knew it was like something either like a twin, or it was, you know, something, basically I knew it was something with her, like Miss Dr. Jekyll and Hyde, or whatever the hell it is. I thought it was something kind of like that as well, before they made the big reveal. So I knew something like that was coming, but I just was like not expecting it to be what it actually was, because again, they didn't really say how he was able to like communicate and do all those things, and like how she was able to have extra strength when he was, you know, being in her, trying to control her or whatever. So I don't know. I feel like that was kind of a plot hole. But some of the things I did enjoy, though, were that, again, I think the movie had a good premise. It just, certain things, they just didn't execute it entirely a good way. But I feel like I did overall enjoy like kind of the whole batshit craziness of it. I feel like that is one thing that a lot of people have enjoyed, was just kind of how out there and crazy it was. And I also enjoyed like the brutal killing scenes that this movie had. I just felt like when they were killing people, I was like, holy shit, like that's intense, or it just kind of went for it. And overall, I think I enjoyed like the last quarter, basically when they revealed kind of what the hell was going on that point on. I really did enjoy it, because I felt very, I felt like the pace actually like caught up at that point, and like it was just like one thing after the other. I think that's the main thing. Those are the main things I liked. Again, I did like the things that he is also known for, as I mentioned before, like he's known for those certain shots and everything, but it was just, yeah, it was just kind of corny and stuff like that. And, or at least some of the campiness felt a little bit on the cornier side. But again, I think that's what people enjoy. And especially now knowing what I know, that he also did direct the Aquaman films. He directed, not films, film. He also directed one of the Fast and Furious movies. And I feel like those films are known for being kind of out there and kind of, I guess, more on the campier side. They're just known for kind of being over the top and corny. And I feel like he kind of brought those aspects from those films into this one and was just kind of, I guess, trying to create something new with horror, because obviously they have like comedic horror or horror comedy films, but I just felt like this didn't feel like a horror comedy. It felt more just like, I don't know, like an action comedy movie or something like that, where, like these superhero movies, they do deliver corny lines. They do a little bit overacting, I guess, in some scenes, and I feel like that's what he brought to this film, which I guess, I mean, now that I know that, I feel like if I watch it again, which I am planning on watching again, I feel like I will enjoy it a little bit more because I know these things now. So yeah, I can't say I didn't like the movie, but I can't say I 100% loved it. I think it definitely needs another watch from me, and yeah, but I think it was fun for what it was, and I think I definitely understand why a lot of people have found enjoyment from it. But also, while I was watching this movie, it reminded me of something that I have learned at some point in my life, because, they were talking about a parasitic twin, a teranoma, I think that's what it's called. And it reminded me, or at least I felt like they might have gotten inspiration from this person in history who also kind of had a parasitic twin on them. And his name is Lazarus and Jones Batista Coloredo. And basically, okay, so these were Italian conjoined twins who toured freak shows. I guess it was in the 17th century in Europe. And basically, it was a guy who was like, I guess, a normal guy. And he had a conjoined twin that was kind of coming from his abdomen. But this twin he couldn't speak. He couldn't like really do anything. He just kind of hung out and chilled on this dude. And they called him a parasitic twin because basically, as like they kind of said in the movie, it's just someone that heavily relies on the like functioning person to survive. Like they're just taking from that person in order to live. But yeah, so they basically toured these shows all over, and I guess they said that, he just didn't do anything. But if you if you touched like the breast area of Jones, I guess he was said to have like kind of like twitch and stuff like that. So he did have some kind of mobility or functionality or whatever. But yeah, and I guess Lazarus, the dude, ended up being like a murderer, he was sentenced to death, but they decided not to put him to death because I guess one of his, defenses was that like, oh, if you put me to death, you're going to be murdering my innocent twin that's a part of me. So he ended up not being killed. So yeah, I mean, it just reminded me of that. That's all there really is about that guy. I mean, maybe there's more. I just literally did a quick little Wikipedia search on him. But I just thought it was interesting, and I thought this story kind of gave me those types of vibes, and also kind of vibes of like, like evil twin and a good twin type of thing. So I think that's kind of maybe where James Wan got his inspiration possibly from. I'm not entirely sure. That's what reminded me of it. Yeah, that is pretty much all of my thoughts on this movie. Let me know what your thoughts are, if you enjoyed the movie, or if you didn't enjoy a movie, or if you're like, I guess, more heavily towards one side or the other, or if you're more like me and kind of are like more in the middle where it's like you can understand why people like it, it just maybe wasn't entirely for you. That's all I have for you today. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!